All people in the world live with autism. While it might sound a bit frightening, people with autism are often extremely talented, and autism, in fact, helps them excel in different fields of life. I am odd. I am new. I wonder if you are too. I hear voices in the air. I see you don't, and that's not fair. I want to not feel blue. I am odd. I am new. I pretend that you are too. I feel like a boy in outer space. I touch the stars and feel out of place. I wonder what others might think. I cry when people laugh. It makes me shrink. I am odd. I am new. I understand now that so are you. I say, I feel like a castaway. I dream of a day that's okay. I try to fit in. I hope that someday I do. I am odd. I am new. Those deep and meaningful lines were not written by Robert Frost or William Shakespeare. In fact, they were composed by Benjamin Giraud, a 10-year-old boy with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism. The student from Plattsburgh, New York, did outstandingly well on this assignment, which was to write a poem titled I Am. The first two words in every line were the same for all the kids. The rest was his imagination, talent, and desire to let others know what it's like to live with autism. Sonny Giraud, Benjamin's father, explained that the family was pretty surprised to see such an outburst of emotions on paper. The boy rarely gives them more than a one-word answer when they ask him about how things are at school. But this poetic task was so inspiring that Benjamin focused fully on writing and didn't stop until he produced this masterpiece. The National Autism Association shared the poem on their Facebook page, and it got around 50,000 reactions and was shared 37,000 times. Benjamin is, of course, not the only example of a superbly talented individual with autism. One of the brightest examples is Susan Boyle, the lady who stole the hearts of millions back in 2009 when she took Britain's Got Talent by storm. She seemed a little awkward at first when she'd announced she'd sing I Dreamed a Dream. But then the real magic began, and everyone fell in love with her beautiful voice. Interestingly, even though the Scottish singing sensation always felt she was different somehow, she only got diagnosed with Asperger's in 2012. Now, you might never have heard of Satoshi Tajiri, but you sure are familiar with his most famous creation, and you gotta catch 'em all. Yeah, I'm talking about Pokemon. Tajiri is a video game designer and the founder and CEO of Game Freak, a video game developer. Like many other people with autism, he loved to collect things when he was little and used to spend more time in game arcades than with his peers. His parents were naturally concerned about it, but in the end, their son made them proud. He started Game Freak, which was first a magazine focusing on the arcade game scene when he was 17. It later grew into a successful company. As for Pokemon, the idea for it was inspired by Tajiri's hobby of collecting bugs and his love for video games. Now that's a good example of how autism contributed to someone's success. Sir Anthony Hopkins, Oscar winner, actor, director, producer, and legendary Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs, also admits that his mild Asperger's has actually helped his acting skills. The same was true for iconic pop artist Andy Warhol. According to Dr. Judith Gold, he displayed a lot of traits that speak of his autistic nature, including social awkwardness, obsession with consumer goods, and a love of repetition. There is a reason to respect and admire people with autism, and here are a few facts that will help you understand them better. Autism is a spectrum disorder. Even when you catch a basic cold, it can come in a whole variety of forms from just sneezing to a fever. Of course, a condition like autism is way more complicated than that and can be of different severity. Dr. Joel Foreman has done a lot of research on the topic of autism and explains that people can be a little autistic or extremely autistic. A person can be really bright and communicative and autistic at the same time, or autistic and experiencing problems with communication. People with autism can experience symptoms that vary from sensitivity to light and sound to fantastic intellectual and creative abilities. Disorders that vary this much in symptoms and severity are called spectrum disorders, and that's why we can speak of autism as autism spectrum disorder. It is almost 5 times more common among boys than girls. It means alone, but many people with autism are communicative. When translated literally from Greek, autism means alone from the word autos, meaning self. It makes perfect sense because the most common symptom of autism is trouble with social communication. It's often hard for people with autism to maintain eye contact, but many of them are actually really sociable. When talking to them, one important thing to keep in mind is that they are normally really direct and see things in black and white, taking people at their literal word. They find it hard to get hints and feel the mood of the person they're talking to, so they might seem rude to some people. In truth, it's just their way of thinking, and it shouldn't be taken as offensive in any way. Sesame Street created a character with autism. You know, Sesame Street is an iconic show that basically raised millions of kids since 1969. They made their own important contribution to spreading the message that kids with autism are in no way deficient and are bright, talented individuals with their own way of thinking. In 2010, Sesame Street started their impressive work on the creation of a character that would teach kids about autism. They worked with educators, psychologists, and activists, and visited clinics and schools to do this in the best possible way. Interestingly, many of the people involved in the creation of Julia, the autistic character of Sesame Street, had dealt with the matter directly. The puppeteer is the mother of a boy with autism. The designer made friends with a girl with autism while volunteering at a school. And the script writer's brother is also on the spectrum. Julia appears as a green-eyed, red-haired girl with a love for the arts. It is explained that she just thinks in her own Julia sort of way, and might sometimes do what you don't expect her to and not answer you right away. People on the spectrum see the world differently. A 2015 study by a group of American scientists specializing in psychology and neuroscience concluded that the way people with autism see the world is pretty unique. They always focus on the center of an image, even if the main object is more to the left or right. 39 people took part in the experiment and were shown 700 images with a total of 5,500 objects in them. The experiment also supported the idea that autistic people don't normally look at faces. They focus more on bright objects that stood out, even if they were trees or rocks. People with autism excel at certain jobs like no one else. While autism might sound like a negative diagnosis to many, it actually comes with a whole bunch of talents and abilities. People with autism are forthright, free from judgment, and show great passion for what they do. Their ability to see parts instead of the whole helps them become great lab technicians and researchers who can find unique cells or differences among species. Their eye for detail can also come in handy for a career as an art historian or antiques appraiser. They make excellent museum professionals, archaeologists, and academics because they can fully focus on their area of interest and give it their best. Their love for rules and distinct structure can help in any career field. Finally, here is another amazing talent. Some people on the spectrum can easily imagine a 2D photograph as a 3D object in their minds. Finding a way to develop this skill can help people with autism become excellent industrial designers or work in architectural model construction. So, do you know any other facts about autism you'd like to share? Feel free to sound them out in the comments section. Don't forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends, and click subscribe to stay on the bright side of life.